feet underwater.
Yeah, I know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Look here, Leroy's back in business with Big Al. He's back in business with Big Al. He does what a lot of people do. They get out of prison, uh, feeling like they're on the right track. Something happens, derails the whole thing, and he's back. That's what Leroy did. He's right back in the business. And his partner that's in the penitentiary, his cellie, he hears about it. And he is tore up about it because, this person, Leroy, had helped him kick his habit. And he's thinking that if Leroy couldn't hold up out there, how was he going to be able to hold up? How was he going to be able to handle the pressures of being free if Leroy couldn't? Because he saw Leroy as somebody stronger than himself. So he tries to call Leroy, but he doesn't know what has happened. He doesn't know that Leroy and Crystal are no longer together. He has no idea. So when he calls, he gets Crystal. That's the number he had. So Crystal is talking to him and telling him that, Leroy has moved out. They're working on some things, and all of that. And she hopes to see him soon, and she'll let him know that he called. So when Crystal sees Leroy later, she tells him about his cellie that called. And when she tells him about his cellie, he said, what did you tell him? Because Leroy's concerned that she might have given him too much information because Leroy don't want him to know what he's into. And she said, I didn't tell him anything. But it seems like he already knows. He said, why do you say that? He said, well, because he said that he had heard some things in the penitentiary and he wanted to find out if it were true. He wanted to find out if it was true that you were back in the streets. So he looks at her and he tells her, he said, look, when he calls again, give him this number. So he gives her the number. She says, okay. And then I'll explain to him myself. And she said, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? You've walked away from me and our relationship. And she said, I understand that. She said, but now you walk back into that lifestyle. She said, why are you doing this? And his anger took over. And he says it's because of you, because of what you did. It's because of what you did. And she didn't understand that. She said, so you started going back and selling drugs because I slept with him? She said, that don't even make sense. He said, nah, it wouldn't make sense to you. It wouldn't make sense to you. So he leaves, and Crystal is tore up about it because she's feeling doubly guilty now. She's like, she's ruined their relationship in her opinion, and now he's putting himself back in jeopardy of going back to prison because of what she did. But it wasn't her fault that he made that decision to go back. Not at all. But she was messed up about it because he said that it was because of her. So she talked to her parents about it, and she told them, everything that he said. And her father was pissed about that because her father was saying that he put you in this situation. You made your mistakes, and now he's making his. He shouldn't be blaming you for it. And she just was messed up about that because now she didn't know what to do. She wanted him back more than anything. She wanted him back. And her mother understood that. But her mother told him, she said, look, men are embarrassed when something like this happens, especially, if they think other people know about it. If it happened and it stays private, she says sometimes they can get through it. Sometimes, not many. But if it's out, that embarrassment, it hurts them so bad that they can't do it. They don't seem to see, how they play a role in it. This is what Crystal's mom is telling her. Men don't seem to understand that, when they're out in the streets, especially people in the streets doing drugs, selling drugs, you're doing all of these things that bring embarrassment to the house, but it don't equate the same way. And now Crystal doesn't know what to do. She's messed up. And this is another example of how the dope game changes everything that you had. Everything. Nothing will be the same. You think it will, but it won't. And you think it's better, but it ain't. So Leroy, he's at his house now. He's at his apartment and he's trying to figure out his next move. His next move is to rob Big Al. His next move is to take Big Al all the way down. Take everything he's got. But how you going to take something from somebody and stay in the same town and not think that you're going to have to deal with them? How you going to do that? You can't. You're not. Big Al, he's seen Big Al put in work, take care of business, or have some of his goons go take care of business, so he knows it's going to be some kickback. He knows that. He said, so the only thing that he can do, the only solution for him to be able to do what he needs to do is to make sure that Big Al is taken all the way off the playing field. Now, not kill him. He ain't built like that. He said Big Al got to go down. He says Big Al got to go to the penitentiary. But the only way Big Al going to go to the penitentiary, they're going to have to catch him or something. And he don't even know Big Al is with the police. He don't know that. He don't know that. So his next move, he goes to the DA. He goes to the DA and he tells the DA that he got information about Big Al. So the DA tells him, he said, look, we've been hearing your name in the streets again. And Leroy looks at the DA and he said, look, I'm not doing anything. What I'm doing is trying to rid our streets of another drug dealer. He plays that role with it. So the DA, he entertains it because the DA knows what's going on. He ain't stupid. The DA entertains it. So the DA tells him, said, look, now if you go undercover for us and help us get Big Al, then anything that you do while you're undercover, we got that. We won't charge you with. But if you don't, and you try to do this on your own, well, when it goes down, you catch charges too. So what you want to do? So Leroy, he was convinced that this was the best option for him. He was convinced of it. So he told him, he said, let's make a deal. I'm going to take him down. And the DA asked him, he said, why are you so intense on taking this man down? What is going on? Because the DA didn't want to get involved in something that could lead to somebody getting hurt or killed. And he told him, he said, while I was in jail, while I was in prison, Big Al slept with my fiance. And the DA looked at him and thought about it. He said, I understand. He said, but if we do this, we got to do this my way. And Leroy told him, I understand. Just so you know, Big Al got to go down. So he sat there for the next 2 or 3 hours telling the DA everything that he knew about Big Al. They were taking the notes, this, that, and the third, right? And what Leroy learned in that meeting is that Big Al had been providing information to the DA for years. Now, the DA didn't tell him that he had provided information about him. He's not going to give up all his cards in the game. But the DA let him know that, well, you know, Big Al has helped us in the past, and his time has come to go. It's past. It's over. And if you want to help us do this, we're more than willing to take your help, accept your help. And that's how the game goes, y'all. Next man up. Next man up. That's what this is about. Not wiping it out, not stopping it totally, but the next man up. Shuffle game. Now, Big Al's time is running out. He don't even know it. So Leroy, he said he wasn't going to wear no wire, but he just going to turn over information, numbers, locations, all of this type of stuff, so that when they hit him hard and they wipe him out. Now, he's still doing what he's doing. He's still making sure that he's going to have some money to walk away with. He's going to make sure of that. So every now and then he stops over at Crystal's and he tells Crystal to put this away, put that away. He's putting money up. She asks him, what's going on? What are you doing? He tells her this, just do this for me. Just do this for me. And she feels guilty about the circumstances, so she does it and she puts it away. And the money is adding up and the money is adding up. And he tells her, don't spend a thing. Don't do nothing. Don't do nothing. Don't buy nothing. Don't do nothing. Because he's afraid if she starts to buy stuff, it's going to tip the DA off to he's hiding the money from it. So she agrees to it and she don't hide nothing. She don't want to mess up. She thinking this is going to get her back in good graces with Leroy. And the money is adding up fast. Now the time is coming. The time is coming to where Big Al's time is running out. The DA knows where he hides his stashes. The DA knows all the people that he works with. The DA knows all the routes. The DA is coordinating with other district attorneys in other cities because Leroy told him about all the other places that they've done business. He's become a full-fledged, confidential informant. And on top of that, he told the district attorney that if he had to come to court, he had no problem with it. He had no problem with it. In his mind, that was going to be his exit from the game. In his mind, if everybody knew that he testified against Leroy, if it came down to that, then nobody would trust him in the game again. He's so naive to the realities of the dope game that he thinks that he'll just be able to walk away and nothing will be said or done or happen to him. He thinks that it's over once he testifies, if he has to, against Big Al. So the day comes and they swoop in. It's a multi-county sweep. It's a multi-county sweep. And they hit all of Big Al's spots at one time. Coordinated effort. And then they drop and get Big Al. And it's all over the news. All over the news. And that when they hit it on the news, they said, with the help of a confidential informant, they have been able to take down one of the biggest drug dealers in the city for the last 10 years. That he had been, in and out. They gave his whole criminal record that he had been in and out of prison and had provided and smuggled all kinds of drugs to the communities, for years. Used to be a basketball star. They put all of this stuff on TV talking about all of his past. Made him look terrible. But Big Al, he got money put away. And he got a lawyer that's on deck. And his lawyer comes down there to see him. And the lawyer tells him, look, this ain't going to end good. It's not going to end good. He going to need a little bit more money to fight this case. Big Al tells him no problem. He calls one of his gals, get the money dropped off to the lawyer. Big Al said, who is the informant? Who is the informant? The lawyer takes the lawyer a while to find out. If he finds out, he tells him, he said, the informant is Leroy. His right-hand man, his partner, that just got out of prison on an appeal bond. So Big Al looks at him and tells the lawyer to go tell the DA I want to trade some information. Because Big Al said, if I got to go, he's got to go. So the lawyer takes that information back to the DA and he tells the DA, and the DA says, we're not interested. We're not interested. We got everything we need. And he can't trade up in this situation. The only way he could trade up is to tell us something about somebody much, much higher than him, not somebody equal to him. The DA is not disclosing the fact that they've already made a deal. Leroy's got immunity from prosecution as long as he keep it 100. It's in writing. Nothing that they could do. Big Al is through. If he don't beat the case, he's going to be in prison for a long, long time. So Big Al, he makes a phone call to one of his gals, and his gal gets Leroy on the three-way. And he tells Leroy, I know it's you. I know it's you. And then Leroy tells him, he said, well, for what you did to me, this is payback. Now we're even. And Leroy said, what I did to you? He's like, yeah, you slept with my gal. And Big Al says, he said, man, this is what this is about. And he was like, yeah, this is what this was about. It's just that. And Big Al tells him, he said, man, I knew you was a real sucker. And Leroy hangs the phone up on him. Now, Leroy's got to be careful because Big Al got money and he got a lot of people that still in the streets that mess with him. So Leroy, he goes to the DA. He lets him know that because the DA told him if Big Al calls him to let him know and all this and that. So he goes down there. He lets him know that he called him. He made some little idle threats and all this and that, right? So the DA gets his phone privileges restricted at the prison, at the jail. That's one way to stop him from being able to talk to people on the streets. They're locking him in. Now, when Leroy goes to the house, he says he needs to drop by Crystal's. He goes by Crystal's and he tells her, he says one more time, and this will be the last time that I say this to you. Do you want to be with me? And she said, more than anything. More than anything, I do want to be with you. So he tells her, he said, look, I've worked out something. I'm done with the life, but I'm going to be leaving. And if you want to leave with me, let's go. Let's go now. And she said, I can't just pick up and leave. He said, yes, you can. We have enough money to leave. We have enough money to leave. So he tells her, here, I'm going to give you till the morning to decide. And when you decide what you want to do, you let me know. He said, but I'm not going to come back by here unless you call and tell me that you've made up your mind. One way or the other. One way or the other. But he said, I'll be gone in a week. So you need to let me know. And I'm going to let you know in the next episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. And I say peace, y'all.
I've been trying to breathe underwater.